Rohan Marley isn't just Bob Marley's son, he's the living embodiment of legacy, entrepreneurship, and passion with purpose.
Starting a new company. I'm one of Bob Marley's sons. Please, would you like to try my coffee? It took me about a few years. It took it 13,000 stores.
If your dad just appeared and he was alive right now, what do you think he would say to you about all these businesses you built?
Show me the next one.
What it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, I got a big treat for you folks. You won't believe it, but my man Rohan Marley is in the house.
What up? What up? You already know.
Joint in hand.
Well, I asked you first. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just wondering, I wonder how good that is.
This is called King Clementine of our Lion Order brand because I got my own brand. So this is my top strain, and let me tell you, it just tastes so lovely. It's got like a nice body to it. The flavors are lovely. I love my herb because I love the terps, you know? Because I like when I burn my herb, it's like a meal to me. You feel me? So when I'm
Yeah.
smoking my herb, I need to taste my herb like how I taste my coffee.
And folks, if you guys don't know who Rohan Marley is, you've probably been under a rock. But Rohan Marley isn't just Bob Marley's son. He's the living embodiment of legacy, entrepreneurship, and passion with purpose. Born May 19th, 1972 in Jamaica. Now, if I get this wrong, you let me know. But Rohan carved his own path far behind reggae rhythms. He was a linebacker at the University of Miami, playing alongside legends like Ray Lewis and Warren Sapp, proving he hits just as hard in life as he did on the field. But Rohan didn't stop there. He transformed from an athlete to a business mogul, pioneering the sustainable coffee movement with Marley Coffee, blending his family name with eco-conscious capitalism. He's also dabbled in fashion, which is tough-going clothing. Cannabis,
Tough gong clothing, yeah.
tough gong. Yeah, I need readers, my man.
I know, I can tell. It's a
Cannabis
way, yeah.
ventures. What's the cannabis venture?
Lion Order. That's the one, and we're dropping that in Florida right now. We're part of one of the licensees that are legal here, legal movement, and we are in Michigan, and we're getting ready to launch out in New Jersey. So we're happy about that, and Oklahoma. So we're happy about Lion Order, the cannabis brand.
Lion Order, and obviously continues to push forward in your dad's message of freedom, love, and resilience with a business twist. Rohan is a man who took the Marley spirit and asked, how do I make this a business empire without selling my soul?
Yeah, correct.
And you've done quite a bit, of
But
that. But
Well, like I was gonna say, the important part to doing anything, right? And if you're true to self, I feel like the most important thing in life is doing what you love to do. And the things you love to do are your natural nature, because I'm sure everyone wakes up in the morning time as who they are. So we have to still stay as who we are throughout our day, whether it's through business, whether it's through relationships, whether it's just through the daily activities, because anything we do, we're still utilizing the same faculties we use for anything else. So it's just all interpretation. But the key component to all of that, it's the person in charge of the vehicle, which is the body and the words. So the action and the words come from the soul. So anything I do, it must be soulful, business or leisure.
bomb right there. You're starting off the carpet bomb program. So let me ask you a quick question, and I want you to be real. What's harder, living up to the Marley name or tackling Ray Lewis in practice?
Oh, tackling is easy because if you miss the tackle, you can get up and do it again. you know. But Ray and I, we both play defense together, so we'll be tackling the offensive guy. But for sure, what's more like what's the thing though is really the legacy because it's already been set before you, right? So everyone will know what it is. So when you're off path, everyone knows because it came before you, and you're just following in the footstep of those that came before you, which is my father and the movement of Rastafari. So once you're not on path, it's easy for everyone to say, "Hey, man, what you doing?" We don't know that of your lineage, so it's much more harder to stay within the lineage because there's so much temptation in the world. to drive you one way and the other way. So that's the thing, you know. And it's life, and it's such as life, right? And that's the challenge in life is to maintain a life with integrity and have morals.
Now you grew up in Jamaica, no?
Well, yeah, for partial part of my life up until I was 12 years old, because my story really began when I left Jamaica in '84 and came to Miami to get a new life, you know, because I moved in with my grandmother and my two uncles who were really there for me in terms of discipline and guidance because as a young boy in Jamaica, after my father passed away in '81, I kind of lost my mind in terms of what I wanted to do and just being more of a street boy in terms of, yeah, trying to I admired the outcasts, as you call it, the gangsters, the one that made life with things they just can pick off a tree and make life out of it. You know, I admire those people.
Yeah. What was it like living in Jamaica? Was it what would describe it?
So growing up in Jamaica, my mother, she had me when she was young. So I live with her and her parents, right? So I kind of had a complex. I used to call her mother mama, and I call her dad daddy, you know, and I call her Janet. Because I grew up hearing her sisters call her dad in the house. So I just called her dad and she didn't mind. But after, you know, when you have a young mother like that and her parents in terms of being in the workforce, they have also vision of their own life and what they want to do independently, you know? So what I mean by that, I lived in an area in Kingston where I had the opportunity to go to a private school that my father afforded, that all his children would go to that school. But why I say that within that region, I had the opportunity to take a school bus to school because I was in the route. But my grandfather, when he started working and being an entrepreneur, he was a carpenter. He had his own carpentry work. My granny worked at like a factory that was like a packaging factory. They call it Metal Box. So when they gained their own independence, they bought a piece of land in a place called Spanish Town, and that piece of land ain't in the district. So they moved me out the district. And when they moved me out the school district, that means I'm out of the school transportation. So now I got to get up at 5 in the morning and make my way to school from taking a public bus, with like a country bus with everybody, with all grown ass people, and I'm like 5, 6, 7 years old. So I had to learn as a young boy to become independent because my mother had to find her way because she's young. So she's doing her, trying to be an entrepreneur, doing her thing. My grandparents, they work in the day because they taking care of their family, and I got to go to school. So they would put me on the bus, tell the conductor, make sure he gets off the bus at stop 33, and then show him the other bus station because I got to take 3 buses to get to my school. And then I was given like $6. So the $6 that they gave me, that was to buy my lunch, and that was my bus fare to and from. And as a little boy in Jamaica during them times, you passing all the little higglers on the street. Higglers are people who sell items, or young entrepreneurs. They sell items on the street corner. So as a little boy like me, during the Christmas season, all the higglers, they would sell like water guns, little toy things, little toy that. And I'll take my lunch money and buy these things. So I had no money to come home. So I had to figure it out. So I had to start to like, I learned how to like walk around the communities and pick up empty bottles and return those bottles for money. And I learned how to hunt birds and them type of things. And that's kind of the way I grew up to fend for myself, because the little money that my mother had, and the money that my dad would give her to help out in the household and thing, that money was only for like food and really survival, So the extra stuff I want, like ice cream, like any little thing extra, I gotta find it myself. So that's what it's like growing up. And then growing up in Spanish Town, you're growing up around a lot of people where, it's all different walks of life, a lot of road boys. So I had to learn to make friends with everyone. So I became they used to my bicycle. I had a bicycle, and I was the only kid with a bicycle. So they called my bicycle one in the island. And anytime I take my bicycle out to my friends, I can't go home till 10 p.m. at night because they weren't bullying me, but it was a little bit of bullying. They would
You
take the bicycle, and I can't go back home without the bicycle because if I go home without the bicycle, my mother gonna bust my ass because I don't have my bicycle. And I can't go home. So I'm getting the bus ass anyway, but I'd rather get the bus ass with the bicycle than go home without it. You feel me? So that's what it's like growing up as a young youth. And then I was more influenced by the street youth. So I was more into what they were doing instead of taking the bus all the way to Kingston. So that was part of the reason they expelled me from school because of me skipping school a lot. And between 81 and 84, when my dad passed away, I just flipped the switch. No rulership, no governance. So the only way they could save me, they were able to send me to my granny in Miami. My brothers and sisters got together, Mama Rita, my mother, they all agreed that the best thing for me in life was that my grandmother adopt me and become my parent legal guardian. This way I can get a residency here onto my citizenship, and that began in 1984 because my family moved to Miami in 1976 from Delaware, as you know. So that's a little
so
bit of the storyline.
that's good. So you think that kind of helped build that entrepreneurship grit that you've got?
Can I tell you something? Absolutely, because when I was growing up, right, I used to kind of be a little bit embarrassed of my past, right? Because I grew with nothing, as a kid. So I didn't want, as Bob's son, I didn't, people think you come born with a golden spoon in your mouth, but it's not like that for none of us. You have to make it in life. So I was a little bit embarrassed of that. Like I didn't want to tell people, I'm from Spanish Town and, I'm this. I was a little bit shunned of my beginnings. But what I realized as I got into trying to find my way after University of Miami playing football and wanted to be an entrepreneur, I was like, wait a minute, that's my story, man. That's what learned me to be an entrepreneur was me walking around picking up these bottles, selling these bottles to gain some money, then I had to use that money to buy this and buy that and learn how to fend for myself, and then also learning how to budget that $6 that would have to take me to school to and fro and buy stuff on the way and do all these things. So that's where my entrepreneurial spirit came from. Always had to fend for myself to make a better way because when I'm cooking the food that I'm buying and stuff, that's not for me. That's for everybody in the community. My house, when my mother would leave the house and go to work, I would open the door and I let everybody in the house and everybody inside the house, and they just eat up all the food because we bought the food anyway. So, so I was a little bit rambunctious and out of whack, and my family was a little scared for me because the type of friends I kept wasn't the normal friends. But for me, they're good people because, I played a lot of soccer with them. I learned how to swim with them. We would jump in the canal. I learned how to hunt with them. I learned when I'm hungry that I can go in the cane field and break cane and eat cane, but not knowing that it was a private property and we were being chased by a ranger. But that's another story.
How
So
you
we
how
grew up like that, man.
what was your age when you started smoking the ganja?
Well, about I would say 6, 7 years old, 6 to 7, 8 years old. One of the memorable times I had, right? So I thought I was a grown man. The only way I can gauge my age is because my father passed when I'm 9 years old. So all these things happened before he passed away. So I'm like 6 or 7. So I remember one time I was at my dad's house, and it's like one of these days, people are there to see him. So there was this lady from Germany, and she was like sitting on the steps there, right? And as a little boy, she's just sitting there hanging out. And I'm walking by her as a little boy. And when I look to my left, this lady, she's in a skirt and she's not wearing any underwear. So I'm like, wow, we've got bush. So that was rude. So I walked around the back and I got somebody to make me a big old spliff. I got this big spliff in my mouth. But remember, I'm little. So I'm gonna show this woman that I'm a man. So I remember walking around the corner and not being able to see her like where she is until I break the corner. When I came around the corner, man, I had this big spliff in my mouth to take a second view. And when I looked, man, it was my dad standing there. He says, "Hey boy, what are you doing with that? Who gave that to you? Get out of here with that." And blah. I got in a little trouble. So that was one of my first experience. Then another time, what made me gain my respect for the herbs and the level of the herb, because we treat herb as Rastafari people as we grow older as a sacrament. But as a young boy, about 7 years old, I remember sitting with some of the band members of the Wailers and some of the Rastafari elders in the circle, and they were praying and passing the chalice, and then to pass the chalice, you cannot cover your head, your crown, your temple, so you have to uncover, because as a Rastaman we wear a tam. So all the Rastafari man elders and brethren, they took the tam and they rested on their knee and they take the chalice. And before you pull the chalice, you have to say a prayer. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be at one in the sight of the Most High. Jah Rastafari. And then you lick the chalice. And you blow the chalice and you bun Babylon, And when we do that, we chant Naya Bingi. And that Naya Bingi, when we beat those skins and smoke the herb, we burn corruption and we burn all oppressors against all nations, Because Rastafari is for the oppressed people, all people. It's not about color, creed, or ethnicity. It's about humanity. And when we smoke the chalice as a sacrament, we pray in a divine order and a divine self and awareness that we want to awaken the higher consciousness of all of the beings and all of the greater ones, that we can purpose this life through love and togetherness. And we as Rastafari people, we chant Nayabingi and we burn our chalice to give praises unto the Most High. Jah Rastafari.
You make me want to be a Rastafarian.
Yes, man. We all are, because it's not how you look, is really how you are.
Well, then I am.
You dig?
Hey, so what would you say to all the people in the world that say you can't smoke weed and still succeed? You've proven that one wrong. What would you
I
say to them?
mean, it's like ask the guy that is spending 9 to 5 behind a desk. What's the most popular thing after work?
Go drink a beer.
There you go. So, can you function while consuming alcohol in your life? You dig? Do people function by consuming what tobacco, which is not same comparables, but do people function just in speaking on a recreational standpoint, not even getting into the medicinal component, not even getting to the theories that we as Rastafari people know what it is for I and I, but just by choice of a natural resource provided to us by creation, we can function with creation. Whoever says this is an absolute idiot. And whoever thinks like this is the same guy that has no problem getting a prescription, going down to the pharmacy, and have some guy put a bunch of chemicals together and tell him that's going to help his bloodstream and
Yep.
tell him that's going to cure him. Yeah, but I'm saying, no, man, this thing got the same, the components that you're finding in that thing that they've turned into a chemical. The beginning of that component actually is herb. You know what I'm saying? So because we don't combine all the chemical with the herbs, they fight that, right? And it's a pharmaceutical issue. It's not even a man issue, because people that burn herb don't talk against the herb. You know what I mean? It's like everybody with choice, right? Just because you have choice, no, just because you have choice, people can talk against your choice. What? Every day they fight these things. It's like the Republicans and Democrats, they're fighting over whose choice is better. What do you mean? You know what I'm saying? It's all choice. You're fighting over my choice of life. You're fighting over the things I love that makes me happy, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not
Sounds
fighting
foolish,
you.
doesn't it?
I'm not fighting you. I don't burn my herb to come in war with you, man. I burn my herb to tell you how much I love you and how much we care and how much we got to work together and how much it's going to be a better life if we can just see eye to eye, dig?
How many people you think are sitting in jail because of herb that are now like it's not even fair because it's all pretty much legal now?
And that was my whole concept of life. When I came to America in 1984 and learning about the Coptic movement and how, as Rastafari people, we were able to industrialize cannabis, right? When those people were arrested, my whole life was to go to school, go to University of Miami, become a lawyer so I can free these people that were wrongfully persecuted just because of a plant. You know, the same plant that's today is legal and the same ones that were turning against it, they're the biggest investors. You dig what I'm saying? It's now a government system. It's now federal, well, not federal, but state, but it is federal to a point, you know, because you have to there's some abidance that goes with that. Because if you talk about THCA, which is the same hemp plant with the same derivative, just a lesser a THC component that's crossing state lines. You know what I'm saying? So it is federally legal to in its essence. But here we are with a bunch of people federally persecuted for this medicinal plant that we consider something that not only can it heal mankind, but it's also industrial. It's a part of the industrialization of the people who choose to use it. Just like others turn other things into things that can benefit their future and their generation and their legacy, the same thing that we choose to do with this plant. Just like people make pineapple juice with pineapples, we're using this plant for many of our resources. And one of them happens to be we smoke it.
Is it legal in Jamaica?
Well, in the same, pretty much the same way it's legal here, right? There's laws and there's ways about it, and yes, in a sense. But as far as Rastafari people, our choice is legal to us.
Yeah, not only that, you could claim it's part of your belief system.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But in terms of government, it's legal, yes, because we have dispensaries and there's people with permits like we do here in the state of Florida, as well as in New York, Michigan, et cetera, et cetera.
So your cannabis venture somewhat new, yeah?
Yeah, I started in 2022, launched on 4/20, 2022 in Michigan because that's where my story led me from University of Miami to Michigan. And now that was where my genetics, I developed all my genetics because if I'm gonna smoke the herb, right, my herb, I have to know what it is I'm burning from A to Z, right? So I built my own genetics to what I want. So my genetics, I developed them in Michigan, and now with 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 um with with the new rules and the laws here in Florida, which is all medicinal, I'm doing the same thing here in Florida, is developing my genetics with a company called Gold Flower. And we're working out of some dispensaries called Ideal Dispensaries here in Florida. So that's my new business here, and we're launching that here in April, end of April, and then we're also going to launch New Jersey in Harrison, New Jersey, in the cookie store in June. So we're looking nice and lovely. And then again, here in Florida, we're gonna also come between now and September, we should have our first coffee shop moving along with a group called Dorsia, which is just, it's in its developmental stage now. So I'm getting all my machinery goods and stuff because anything I do, there has to be a story to it. So when I talk coffee, right? If I'm going to tell you about coffee, I'm a coffee farmer. But a coffee farmer isn't a machine expert. And in order for me to get a cup of coffee, I need a machine. So when I think about machinery and precision, I always have to think about the Germans, the Austrians, and Switzerland, and that type of mentality, right? So when I think of coffee shops, you need a machine for it to work. I had to go to Austria, Vienna, to find the birthplace of coffee shops. They began the coffee shop philosophy in the 16th century. So if I'm going to do something, I want to do it with the people that know exactly how to make a good cup of coffee, right? Because a farmer and a coffee maker are two different people. You understand? Raw
Yeah.
material and a finished product. But I see myself at King or whatever I'm doing, and King just mean expect premium quality from this person. That's what it is. I govern myself in that way that what I have to offer is a premium quality product, whatever it is. From what I drink is what I'm sharing with you. So my coffee shop concept is being built with that machinery storyline and processing storyline, efficiency, just like you know what the engine system is over there. And I'm
Sure.
taking my success story out of Chile because since I launched the brand in 2010 up until this day, we're probably one of the number one coffee product in Chile right now with a few shops. But here I'm going to expound on the vision that we, the Marley family, we got here in 1976. Come next year, we're 50 years in South Florida. So this is our legacy too, you know? And this is really life after Bob. What are we doing today? And it began in 1984 when I moved here to Miami.
And you started that shit, yeah?
Absolutely. I stumbled up on a piece of land in 1999 in Jamaica because I left UM at night in 95 and I didn't know what I wanted to do with life because after leading the team in tackles, obviously playing at that level, kicking ass like that, you're supposed to be in the NFL, right? Because I'm playing with the same people that are playing in the NFL and I'm dominating those people that are legends in the NFL. So they're no different, but the only difference is they're 260 pounds and I'm 200 pounds. So the durability, it was a durability thing, you know. It wasn't really if I can play on the level or not, but it's a durability thing. And you can't, as an investor, you can't, you know, that's a business there. So it for me it would be really a short term thing. And I was thinking about the risk in terms of short term lifespan. I didn't want to cripple myself, like break my legs and stuff anymore, just for 2 years in the league, trying to fight my way through, but injuring myself and then not having the lifespan that I desire, I said no. I stopped it and went to play soccer. But I know I couldn't do that for long term either. But I still have this passion of and this activity within myself to really go forward, you know, be the greatest at that. So I was able to transform the passion I have for sports and put that towards life, which is now how do I get into business? So when I bought this land in Jamaica, I said, you know something? If I'm going to do business, the business got to be like me. I'm the one to be like the business. So I said, what am I? I'm a Rasta man. I'm Rastafari. So what does that mean? Well, what do you have? You have a piece of land. What do you do with land? You grow things. What do you do with what you grow? You eat the things you grow. I said, well, if I'm going to eat from this land needs to be ital. What is ital? Ital is an organic thing. So I started a whole organic movement in Jamaica. From then, went through the whole system of getting my certification and started a sustainable organic movement. But I began that because I asked the community, hey, let me ask you something. What is this community known for? They said coffee. I said, coffee like oil? They said, yes, Mr. Marley. They said, what's on your land? I said, coffee. They told me coffee. I said, really? They said, yeah. They said, yes, Blue Mountain Coffee, the best coffee in the world, of course. So I said to them, do you know anything about coffee? They said, yeah, Mr. Marley, we've been farming coffee all our lives. So I said, well, all right, we're in the coffee business. So then I started to take my little bit of allowance and start to learn how to grow coffee, study coffee. I brought internet into my father's house because there was no internet because I wanted to research how to grow organic coffee. So I started to research and learn from seed to cup. It took me 10 years to develop this concept of how then from a farmer, how do you take that cherry and turn that cherry and put it in, get it roasted, put it in the bag on a shelf so someone else can join it and taste what you have. So I had to go through that learning process. It took me 10 years, 4 years in Jamaica, 3 years in Los Angeles to understand, you know, the wave of the organic movement and then living in Ethiopia for 1 year, understanding the coffee international, the global aspect of coffee, and also being there, I learned that Starbucks was buying coffee in Ethiopia. And I said to myself, I said, well, man, if the biggest coffee company in the world is sourcing coffee, they don't own a farm? I said, I own a farm. I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take my little Jamaican story because the government, they wouldn't give me an export license because I wasn't producing enough on my 52 acres. So I had to I had to recollaborate. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take my little Jamaican story as my inspiration as to why I'm in the coffee business. I called this little friend that wanted to put up $100,000. I said, hey, man, let me tell you what we're going to do with this money. I said, do you know who my father is? He says, yes, Bob Marley. And I said, do you know that my father is a universal man? He said, yes, Rohan, I understand that your father is universal. And I do know that. I said, do you know that I am also universal? He's like, all right, what are you trying to say, Ro? I said, do you know that coffee is universal? Here's what we're going to do. Screw having a Jamaican company. We're going to do exactly what Starbucks is doing, sourcing coffee from all over the world. But most importantly, why I mentioned that coffee is universal. We're going to start with Ethiopian coffee because it's the birthplace of Rastafari, birthplace of civilization, birthplace of Haile Selassie the First, and most importantly, the birthplace of coffee. So I came back to America. That clothing company, Tough Long, you talked about, I was doing that between 2004 and 2007. I launched it, got into a few stores. That's another long story. But I failed at that. But guess what I did do? I created an archive of artwork and materials and stuff. So what I did, when I came back from Ethiopia in 2008, I stripped all of the art from the garments and made a coffee bag. And
Right on.
transform. Instead of putting people's bodies in the pan, I put beans in a bag. And that's how
Love
I
it.
got to it. And then I made my way, started to do the cupping, and I met someone on the road that was actually a buyer from Whole Foods. He got me into a couple of Whole Foods, and I was out in front of Whole Foods. Hey guys, hi, my name's Rohan Marley, starting a new company, and I'm one of Bob Marley's sons. I please would you like to try my coffee? And I just started talking like that and got people to try my coffee. And I went from one store, two stores. It took me about a few years. It took it 13,000 stores, and now I'm back. I kind of stepped off the platform from 2016 and my family took over, made it a licensing company. But now I'm back to bring it back to life and bring all my conceptual ideas into one house. And that house is here in Miami, where we started in 1976.
Damn. So
Yes,
you make
sir.
it sound easy, dude. What would you tell entrepreneurs who want to make their passion into profit?
You got to talk about it. And when you talk about it, you got to talk about it till you get it, right? And when you get it, you got to see it, right? And if you see it, you can get to it. And once you can get to it, the thing you need to make it happen, manifest it, you're gonna need money. So then if you can get to it, you got to find somebody you can talk about it with because you get it, and then you can show them what it is you're trying to get.
You got to paint the picture.
And yeah, you gotta paint the picture so they believe in you. Because you have to believe in you first, right? But you gotta see it you gotta see it like on the shelves. You got so this way you can tell a story, man. It's like you gotta write the book first, man, then make the movie, and then get people to watch the movie, you know?
Yeah,
And
that's
you
what I'm
need,
talking
and
about.
then yeah, and that's how it is because it takes one person to write the book. You know what I'm saying? But to make it into a movie, you need a production house, you need this, that, and the third. But if you give them the book, they get it. But you got to write it. And writing it meaning speaking about it and visualizing it yourself and seeing that product in your hands. This way it can be manifested, you know? But you have to make way. You have to do the groundwork, meaning you have to be able to at least create one, right? You have to do if it you got to be able to do one yourself.
Just one, like a
And
beta.
yeah, you gotta do one, you know. If you can do one, you can do two. But get that one right. You know what I mean?
There it
Get that
is.
one right. Bang bang.
That's the bomb, folks. I'm telling
That's
you,
right.
no matter what you're doing, you got to do that. That's freaking actionable advice. So,
Actionable.
so do you see the cannabis ventures growing bigger than the coffee?
They go symbiotically, you know what I mean? Because as an entrepreneur, you see things like as products, right? So as a king, I drink coffee, I smoke herb, I drink wine, I do this, I do that. So they all work together. So that's why I when I think about those things, I think about the next phase of hospitality. And the hospitality is myself creating a product that you can come into my world, our world, family world, and being able to full joy all the things that we've envisioned, and the just the natural progress of taking legacy and being who you are, creating what it is that you have to present. So it's like that, and you just have to do it. And that's, I don't know if what I said make any sense, but it makes sense to me.
Hey, if your dad just appeared and he was alive right now, what do you think he would say to you about all these businesses you built?
Show me the next one.
Show me the next one. Eee. Hey,
Yeah, 'cause what
so
are you gonna do with life? What are you supposed to do? Just sit there and bubble up with information? Well, it's like, okay, forget about, like, I was trying to say this today to someone, forget about the money that comes from what someone creates, right? Just leave it as creation. Now, what are you gonna do as a human as your creation? You dig? Like, you know what I mean? What, like, forget about, say you have money that you can do. Like, okay, but forget about the money that you can buy food with, and but what is, like, say you only got water for your pay, and your legacy, your family was paid in water, and when you go to the back of your yard, you got tanks and tanks and tanks and tanks of water that you were paid with, and this is your wealth, water, not cash. What are you gonna do with all this damn water? You know what? The first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make a community pool that I'm gonna charge everybody $2 to come in my pool because I got mineral water, blah blah blah. And then from that, what are we gonna do? Well, you know what? We might as well start making water bottles because we got enough water, and we can, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. The wealth is not the money. The wealth is the information. You dig? And now within all that fucking information, how can you extrapolate the things that resonate with you? Because nothing's new under the sun. It's all been did before and done before, and it's gonna be all doing over again. You better get in the wheelhouse, bro. You know what I'm
that's right. Money's
saying?
just a tool when you
It's
look
just
at it.
a
It's just
it's
a
just a
tool.
tool. It ain't life. It ain't life, because, well, you're gonna sit there. You know what happens when you have money and nothing else to do? You sit there and you get fat. You know what happens when you get fat? You start eroding your arteries and all this, and you just, that's it.
Your life force is gone.
Factual.
So you play football like a beast, obviously. You built businesses like a boss. How did you channel that aggression and competitiveness into this peaceful, loving entrepreneurship?
The peaceful love and entrepreneurship started from my granny and my uncles and my family, because they're like that. And I watched them do it. And my granny, with the way she is, with her discipline and the order that I learned from my granny, my father's mother, my father, my just everything of my family legacy is kind of not wanting to fail in the eyes of my family. That's one of the main driving force, because what I'm carrying is my father's work. So you have to be careful with that. You know what I mean? And I'm a child of my father, and I'm a lover of my family. So I'm here to uplift. So that's it. That's what I kind of do. And that's how I get it from. And that's kind of my thing, because I remember when I played football, I never wanted my brothers or my uncles, because they raised me so to be so tough. I never wanted them to see me on my back. I never wanted no one to knock me backwards, you know? So that same energy, I was able to turn that into business, because I never wanted my back to get dirty. You know what I mean? I always want to be
Mm.
going forward. So I gotta, you know what I'm saying? So that's the linebacker mentality.
Hey, I always say my spirit animal's a rhinoceros just for that reason.
Yeah. And mine is a lion, just because of my size.
People always ask me, man, why a rhino? I say, have you ever tried to stop one? They're
Yeah,
like,
you can't. You
no.
can't. You can't pierce one of those.
Yeah, and
And they
nor
say,
would you
it-
even try.
Yeah, no, you that yeah, you that's not someone you that's not somewhere you want to that's not a ring you want to go into. Not
That's why
even
the
lions want to go in that ring. But you know what the lion is for me, right? Is is the stature in terms of that self, right? And understanding that he's not the greatest and the biggest and the fastest, but he commands that respect just because of his way, you know? And the honor that all the other lions and beasts have for the lion for that moment, right? Because it's the respect is not when the lion is hunting, is when the lion is being self, not when he's hunting, not when he's being a predator or that life system, but it's when he's being self, the spirit of the lion, you know? It's not the hunter part of the lion we love. We love the spirit and the lion and the energy and what he means to the family, protector, those symbols of the lion we love the most. So that's why it's Lion of Judah. That's why it's Lion Order. That's why it's Rastafari. That's why it's Haile Selassie the first. And that's why it's the teachings of the Most High, family and all these things. And they embody that. So that's where everything comes from. It comes through that.
and that's why the lion's the king of the jungle.
Yes, and I am trying to be not in a jungle, but over here in concrete jungle.
A lot of people don't know that elephants have sex hormones in their feet. Did you know that?
Wow.
Yeah, if they
Wow.
step on you, you're fucked. Yee. So I don't know if I let you answer the question. Do you think the cannabis ventures is going to foreshadow and outgrow coffee?
No, never. It's like saying it's oil. It's like commodities, right? It's like is sugar gonna be better than whatever else is there, or it's not. No, it's just an added. It's just another component to the SKUs. You know what I mean? Because if you look at the market, it's oil and coffee. Sorry, if you look at beverage, it's water than coffee. So I mean, it will never. But what will happen is it would just have more command for space than before. More on the forefront than before, and more people accepting the fact that herb is no different than it was before. I don't know, more customable. I don't know the word for it. More acquaintable. That's
There's
it.
I don't hear of a lot of medicinal purposes for coffee, but I hear a lot of them for cannabis.
There you go. But coffee does have its medicinal purposes, but you just have to get into the depths of it because anything with energy has to do with the brain, and the brain works so fast, you know. So if your blood and brain can keep up with emotions and stuff, it helps to kind of keep you steady on the thought process. It's really in the quickness of the mind and being able to articulate your thoughts and deliver your thoughts. So coffee helps with in the brain component in my world, in my mind, and what I think of coffee. And the herb soothes me, so I'm able to flow right there. That's where the balance comes in.
Do you ever like have to go to meetings and shit where you think I better not smoke?
Nah, 'cause I wouldn't be able to think.
So literally is it's from like
No,
waking up to
no, but
going to
remember
bed.
what I told you before, right? I'll never do something that I have to be like that thing. If that thing ain't like me, it ain't for me. You dig? Because we live a way of life, and that way of life is. You hear me? I love to laugh. I'm still serious, but that laugh is for the moment. It's not for what I said. It's for how I feel. It's not for. I'm not telling jokes. I just feel good, so I laugh at. It's not for you to. I'm not laughing. I want people to laugh. No, I laugh because I feel good. You feel me? So
Yeah,
but it's not for what I said why I laugh. It's because what I said made me feel good. It gave me a good feeling. So I laughed at it because I'm healing my own self. So
that's right. Folks, you
I
gotta
make
make that
myself
shit.
happy.
Dude, I believe happiness is a choice, man. Don't
There you
you?
go again. And guess what people like to do? Fight against your choices.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. What's the Rastafarian think about like frequency and vibration?
So, like I tell you again, herb, right? Herb is a wayword, and in wayward meaning It's a way for stillness and a way to really tap into the frequency because when we talk of frequency, we talk of the ether, we talk of the higher self, the higher consciousness, you know? So herb is a part of that whole from the physical world to help us attain the spiritual mindset and that divine way of life. So it's really principles of ways to tap into the ether, to tap into the frequency. And the way to tap into the frequency is a part of stillness. So the herb helps to align you with the stillness and such. Because I also believe in psilocybin and the medicine, all medicinal plants and things of this land. So all these things are a part of the higher self and the stillness of self, so we can accept what it is that the eyes can't see, but we can feel, which are the frequencies. So that's how we feel about that.
Yeah. I'm big into that right now. I see people wake up in the morning, they reach for their phone, they get a bad email, and all of a sudden they decide,
Son,
and that's what
imagine that shit. Imagine that. So if you didn't get that, if you didn't look at your phone for 1 hour, you wouldn't have felt bad for an hour, you know?
yeah, but
You at
even if you
least
did, yeah, but even if you did, listen to what I tell people. I'm like, listen, you reach for that phone and then you get pissed off or you get depressed or whatever, you get triggered somehow because of that email. And when you really think about it, you decided to get that way.
yeah,
So even though it wasn't really consciously thinking,
right,
it got you mad, and then now you're mad, and it's like, who made you mad? Well, that
that
email made me mad.
right,
An
right.
email
Some
can't make
words.
you mad.
Email can make you mad.
You made
It's just
yourself
word.
mad.
You
What
made
kind of
yourself
dumbass
mad.
chooses to be mad when you
It,
got the same choice to be happy?
that is it right there. That is it. Because there you're that means you're controlled by an outer force,
That means you're
right?
out of control.
Yeah, you're out of self-control, man.
Yeah, because I mean, think about it, Rohan. Listen, so
Fact,
somebody
fact.
somebody walks in a room and says some rude shit, and everybody in the room gets pissed off, and then the guy leaves, and someone
Yeah.
goes, "What happened?" And they'll say, "This dude came in here and
Came in
pissed
and
us
said
off." And if you think about it, it's like, do they got control of your mind? No. Well, then how did they piss you off? Because if you really get truthful, you look and you realize, I decided to react that way. I decided to get
choice,
pissed, which
choice.
means it's a choice. And if you can control and understand that we have free will to choose, even though, yes, it was a bad email, I could have chose to respond differently. I could have chose to stay in a different vibrational frequency. And I call it heavenly frequency and
Yep.
then earthly frequency. And I don't want to be in the earthly frequency. I want to be in the heavenly frequency. And whose choice is it?
Yeah.
Mine.
And you know, Rastafari people, we think that herbs help us to transition, whether it's mint tea, whether it's the whole ganja plant, the marijuana plant, whatever plant medicine that we can have, we feel like herb is a part of that. So that's where that comes in, and we all need that, right? We all need to inner balance self. And inner balance self is like taking a breath. You know, you read that email, you take a deep breath, man. I promise you it will pass. Dig. That too shall pass. And it's
Yep.
all into the stillness, you know? And it's a choice. It's all like and today, man, it's really about choice, man. And but is it well, what is your choices for? Your choice must have a purposeful intention. And it's like passion and purpose. We talked about it, right? Passion with purpose, you know, life with purpose, thoughts with purpose, way with purpose, you know. So it's really that self-control, you know, and it's really starts from within because all those thoughts that come within your head, it's like because words are like the wind, you know, they just go to and fro. Words are
Dude, let me name one of your product lines for Lion's Order. Name one of the most potent, perfect ones that get you creative and just freaking unbelievably perfect. I want it to be called Heavenly Energy.
wow. All right, deal.
Lion's Order, Heavenly Energy. People be walking in going, dude, I'll take the Heavenly Energy.
Rastafari, seen brother. I
Hey.
yeah, I love that. Heavenly energy. Yeah, man. Like that.
Yeah.
H
Yee.
H. H-E, sorry. H-E.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Have you ever had to tell someone, hey man, just because my last name's Marley doesn't mean you're getting a discount?
All day long, bro. When you name Marley, it's supposed to be for free.
Yeah.
That's what they think, you dig? I'm like, man, my G, come on, man. How can you go out there and buy other people's stuff, but then you come to my shit and you want me, come on, man. You don't even know this guy. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
Dude,
dude, come on.
I say it all the time. A buddy of mine owns a restaurant, and my friends always go, "Dude, call your buddy and see if we can get free food." I said, "Dude, he's my buddy. Why would I do that?"
Right, that's where we're supposed to go eat at. That's where you're
That's
supposed to
right.
spend your money at. You dig? You know what
That's
I'm saying?
right.
Why you want free food from Bud, but then you go over here and spend your money with random Joe? Fuck out of here.
Yeah, and they do it, and people do it all the time, dude.
They all day long.
It's
People I go
unbelievable.
to school with, they know no one else with a coffee company. You think they'll be like, hey, let me drink Rohan coffee. He's like, bro, Rohan, blood, sweat, and tears. I know Rohan for so many years. Let me drink Marley coffee because I know Rohan and he's a good guy and his coffee is good. I heard about it. Nah, motherfuckers rather drink some other trash when my coffee
Soldiers.
is good. You know what I'm saying, though? Yeah, they are. And then they act like they really love you when they really don't. They just
Yeah.
want you to fucking fail.
Or worse, they call you up and they say, "Hey, dude, I'm opening a restaurant, man. What kind of deal can I get?"
What kind of deal can I get? And they can't call no one else and say that shit.
Yeah, let me
And
let me
you
key
say,
into
man, I
your
can't give
coffee
you no
shop.
deal right now. They say, all right, man, I got to go with Joe. You know what I'm saying? I can't give you, you know what I mean? Where's the friendship at, man? I'm just starting up like you. Talking about it's a business.
So with Marley Coffee, you pushed through sustainability before it was trendy. So like,
Yeah, long ago. I was the
yeah,
first organic farm in Jamaica. When I was talking about sustainable, that didn't exist. Nobody knew what that was. I was one of the first organic coffee company, you know what I mean, in America too. I was one of the first guys. My family even went house to Marley because Rastafari we're italists, you know, and that italist that italist is an organic, that whole organic movement, right? So we were on that because anything we do, Rastafari people, man, is earth friendly, eco friendly from day one. So ital is like we don't eat from the animals, we don't do this because we don't want to partake in anything with any blood sacrifice, right? So we stay away from any blood sacrifice, and that's how we all started out because, like I said, the business got to be like us, not us like the business, because we're not
I like
chasing
that.
something. We want to build legacy that we want to, and that legacy is sustainable, right? So my sustainable idea, that what I learned about sustainability was that when I went into the community, I figured that, man, I live in New Jersey. I'm buying this piece of land, but I don't really own this land because I can't take this land nowhere. I'm just a steward of the land. And there's a community that lives around this land that needs to find things to do, like work. So I figured if I can create a job opportunity with this land, I can create a workforce in the community that wouldn't be something with chemicals that was going to deter their life. So I decided to do it the Rastafari way, not the just the money way where I want yield. I need 10 times the yielding. No, I want 10 times the lifetime. So instead of that, I chose that, hey, you know what? I'll double the wages and I'll make this farm. The farm is what's going to help this community to develop and grow and help them to send their kids to school and do what they can do, things they were not doing currently. So that's how I learned about sustainability, was being able to use this farm to help sustain the community, and it was a cycle, right? Each one help one, right? Like that. So yeah, we need each other.
Well, you saw it before it was trendy. Now it's trendy. Everything's
Yeah,
organic.
everything is organic, sustain. I was that in I 1999.
What do you think? What do you think the next thing is? All these people are sleeping on right now that'll be big in the next 5 or 10.
All right. I'm gonna say this because I had I just bit my tongue too because I guess I am to say that. So let me tell you, right? So I'm gonna talk coffee because that's what I'm doing right now. If you think of coffee, right, and if you think, I'm gonna ask you a question, right? And I learned this. Don't think I'm the smartest guy in the world, but I learned this from my Austrian family, my Vienna family, right? if you think of a beverage company or any beverage, whatever, what is the most important component to any beverage company, any beverage establishment, coffee shop, blah, 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 cafes in general? What's the most critical component?
Water.
Man, you're a smart. 90% water. How about that? But guess what? What does that, so if you're 90% water, what does that make you?
10% coffee.
Everything else. And what is that? What kind of, and if we're talking majority and minority, what type of company are you, sir? Essentially, a
Yeah.
water company.
Hey, you ever hear the story about the coffee bean?
Tell me. No, wait, let me finish this. Then you tell
All
me
right,
that
go.
because I want you to get it.
All right,
Because
go.
what I'm saying though, the way forward is technology in the gastronomy space. Because what it is that people think that filtered water is good water. When you filter something, you take all the minerals. Water needs to be structured, right? And remember, anything that's being added to water, it's an extract, it's a concentrate. And what are concentrate? They're mainly oil. So oil and water don't normally mix. So if the water is not constructed in a way they can receive the whether it's a coffee extract or whatever oil component, it's going to have certain pockets of higher content of that product, and that's where you get the acidity level, right? So when the formulas bind together, which is the water and the oil, the coffee, and it's really done with a structured product, you get a balanced cup of coffee. This way, your consistency in your product is like that because you have to have a water system in order for your product to taste the same wherever it goes. And that's what it is. And that's the future is technology and how to cross brand the products that you need to create a cup of coffee. And
Well,
how do they bind within your end result? And that's the next wave, right? Because anybody can get a machine and say, I'm doing coffee, but I don't drink that type of coffee, man. That because your coffee tastes like this over there and this over there. So you're not getting a true experience,
yeah.
right? So it's really now the consumer experience needs to elevate, and the merchant or where yes the needs to really spend more time and more care for who they want to be build a loyal customer base and how they're treating that, right? And it has to be done this way. If it ain't done that way, you're cheating the people, man. You're cheating, man.
Are you gonna open up brick and mortar coffee shops too?
Yes, sir. And that's what I'm talking about right now. But I couldn't do it without going to my brothers in Vienna that I told you the story about the 16th century, how because if I'm going to do a coffee shop, I do it with the right people. So so I need technology. And that's when I talk about the machine between Austria and Germany. I had to go there for the machine side, the efficiency of how to operate this engine. My engine got to run away that my oil and my this and my that works together. So the gas and the oil and all these things, when you pump it out, is giving you full octane level. You know, so
You
that's
know,
my favorite product.
I would add one thing to that, and maybe it could even be a visual thing that only your coffee shops have, where you walk in and it's above your head and it's a big vortex where the coffee has to come from the water going through the vortex, becoming restructured.
Wow, you know something? I have it because I have to have it in the shop because of the because but not in maybe not visually how you pronounced it, but conceptually, yes. There's that component to it where that whole water life, yeah, it's there because I have to show you the structured water, you know, I have to show you.
Yeah, but
So I
like
have that,
if you put like a big,
right, the water,
vortex,
right in the center, and
and
well,
it comes down and people can see it getting
yes.
structured, and then
But that's why
boom.
when I show you the product, you're gonna even be like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about in terms of like now how to make this a wow, give it a wow, you know? Yeah, love
And then
that, love that
and then on
idea.
the back of the bags on the shelves, put a little QR code where people can buy their own Marley Vortex.
Yeah. Oh
Because
my,
you
yeah.
because you can take shit water and run it through a
Structure it.
vortex
Yes.
and it brings it back to life.
I promise you, when I show you wait a second. I have it. Wait, I'm gonna show you here. I have it. I have the damn. Oh wait, let me show you what it looks like. It's a smaller version of it. Max. Oh, yeah. So it's a smaller version of the what you're saying. I'm gonna show it to you. It's a smaller version.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah,
it's
it is.
you see, you know what though? That's why that's why you talk about magic, you know? Not magic. I don't like magic, the word, because people make it not positive, but it is positive to me. And you said heavenly, heavenly energy.
Energy.
Yeah, you said heavenly energy. And that's what that is. And how you know is because so said, so done. You know, you speak of it, and I'm telling you, you think I'm aligned. I'm right in the moment because I showed you what you're saying, right? And just on a bigger scale, but that is what you're talking about right there. That's it right there.
Well, it basically turns it into living water.
That's what it is. And that's the magic because water, right? See, by the time you get water in a pipe, the amount of things that has attached itself to that water, it's not like it came from the stream again, right? So it's
It's
it has
dead.
lost its based structure of what it's supposed to be from a natural state. So the key is that's not doing anything for your body. You're just drinking bloated. You're getting bloated, and it doesn't have the right amount of oxygen because all of the clouds, it's polluted, so there's no oxygen in it, right? So it's not giving you the life you need, and you're not getting the energy because it's not getting to your bloodstream. It's just going into your. It's just going into through your urinary tracts.
Dude,
Just pissing out.
I got a vortex on my counter, and before I drink any water, I run it through the vortex to get it restructured and living again. And
Yeah.
most people think this is an elaborate piece of machinery. It's just a vortex.
Right there. Yeah, it's that's what it is. Yeah, because it needs life again, you know? It needs like the rocks and the like the interpret it because that's what it's been the natural resources that made it what it is. It's the rocks, it's the things it flows through to get it's what keeps in it a flow, and it's to recreate that, and that's what you have, and that's what that system has. But every product needs it because or else you're not doing just because it's like come on, you're like putting what are you putting into your body,
You,
so
you'll
it's
have you'll have the only coffee with living water.
living water, yeah. And well, the only one over here because the Austrians have been doing it. They figured it out early, But they're like Rohan, you're the only person in the world that we want to share our ideas with, and that's why they were able to create a machine that we have the structure in the machine, in the coffee machine. So it's dummy proof. I don't need a big barrister to make anything. I'm using technology now because everybody wants to show off. Oh, I can make a this and that. No, I don't care about your this and that. What about the product I'm consuming? I love the picture that you did a horse on the damn top of the thing and with foam. But what about the coffee? How is the coffee in the water? You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm coming with technology, and still I have a coffee story. But I'm just a coffee guy with a vision. You know what I mean? And how to give you the best cup of coffee because when I planted that seed, I thought about giving you the best cherry, right? So how then I make and how do I finish my product in the vision that I have? And that's all a part of it. And everything that we have said today is what really brings me to who I am, my whole journey, my whole life.
Well, I think the Bomb Squad, which is my audience, is going to be definitely seeking out one of your stores to try the coffee.
Please
Hey,
do.
so
Please do.
the coffee beans story. So you take a boiling pot of water, and you take like a carrot, and you take an egg, and you take a coffee bean. Now, when you put the carrot in the water, the carrot goes from hard to soft. It changes the carrot. Doesn't
Yeah.
do anything to the water.
Really.
Then the egg. You throw the egg in, it goes from soft to hard, right? Changes the egg. But
What?
only the coffee bean changes the water. Because if you throw a coffee bean in water, it changes the water
Mm-hmm.
into
Mm-hmm.
coffee. And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
they wrote I read a book with John,
Really.
yeah, John Gordon and damn, why am I freaking Damon West? And it was all about how you want to be a coffee bean, man. You want to change the environment. You got to be a coffee bean. You can't be a freaking carrot that gets changed by the environment. An egg gets changed by the environment. And you can throw
Yeah.
all kinds of shit in that boiling water and it doesn't change the water. It changes the thing.
Yeah.
But if you become a coffee bean, well, now you're a change agent.
Wow.
You
Wow. You're the
transform
engine
your
of
environment.
change. Wow. 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 That makes so much sense. We just talked about it. We just you and the reason you remembered that, right, is because I said 10% is just coffee and the water become coffee.
That's
The
right.
coffee didn't become water because there now, do you see that? There's the science because here you have 90% of water and 10% coffee that still made it 100% coffee. It's
That's right.
100% a cup of coffee. I like that. Like that. I'm gonna use that story, bro. I love that.
Go ahead.
It's
Go
part of
ahead.
me.
Feel
It's who I
free.
am. You walk
I'm
into
a
a room,
change agent.
yeah, you walk into a room, you make the room like you, not you like the room.
That's right. That's right. So you
Yeah.
got your roots in Jamaica, dude, but you've built globally. So what's one lesson from Jamaican culture that every entrepreneur worldwide should adopt?
When you have a routine, your routine should be when you wake up in the morning, brush your teeth, wash your face, and take a bath. And at night, brush your teeth, wash your face, and take a bath and start all over again. Yeah.
You
Do
can
that.
almost literally and figuratively.
Yeah, literally and figuratively, because it's these things are what you need to do every day in order to succeed,
It's like
right?
renew.
Yeah, you gotta do the things that you love to do every day in order to make it a reality. But this is the way you gotta practice. Just like you brush your teeth, everything gotta do. You gotta be on it. You can't brush your teeth with a toothbrush one day, then tomorrow you're using a rag, then the next day you're using your finger. You know what I'm saying? Gotta
All right,
stay with it.
last question because I know you got to go and I've already kept you 9 minutes past. If you
You're
could sit
good.
down with your dad for 1 hour, would you
Yeah.
ask him for life advice, business advice, or would you just roll one and vibe?
You know what? If I can sit with my dad one more time, all I'm gonna do is just sit there with my dad one more time and let it be. Just let the I don't gotta ask anything because if I would be asking, that means I'm living in doubt, right?
That's right.
So sitting with my father is of age, you know, and it represents maturity and it's a level. So I just give thanks for the moment and cherish it and know that this moment it will only last me an hour to just smell, touch, feel, and just see and just take this hour as the most precious hour of my life and just remember that forever and ever and ever again and hope to get another hour another day.
Well, I'm sure you will, my brother. Well, I
Rastafari.
appreciate your time, my dude. I hope you all the success in the world. The Bomb Squad, how can we help support you?
Yeah, man. And how you help support me is just the things that I'm doing. Just let me know how it's doing. So that means you have tried it.
Try it out.
Try it out.
Where
Test
can
me.
we follow you?
Ro Marley at Ro Marley on Instagram, and I'm at Ro Marley on the X platform. And for now, that's where I'm at. And then at Lion Order, and obviously the product is at Marley Coffee.
You guys heard it. Go follow him, support him, buy his stuff, and help heal the
Rastafari.
world. Appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you, bro.
If I can ever,
Rastafari love.
if I can ever do anything, let me know.
Please, man. Please, we stay in touch.
Indeed. All right, my brother. Appreciate you.
All
Thanks
right,
for
bro.
coming
Take
in,
care.
folks. As always, you just heard the gems. Until next time, keep it real.